a new thing that just came out said that gold share of global international reserves just jumped to 18% in 2023. That's the most in 27 years. And it's now also the second largest asset held in global central bank reserves, exceeding the euro for the first time ever. The US dollar is at 48%, but down from 60% in 2017. And at the same time, the central banks in Q1 2024 bought more gold than it ever before. So when you talk about this stuff, they're selling treasuries, they're buying gold, and they're being incentivized to do so. And it's one of these deals where now the official world gold reserves are higher than just before Nixon closed the gold window. I mean, it's almost as if they are thinking we are heading towards a gold standard, which would make sense. Um, and to give you an idea of how fast things can change, right? The Bank of Japan, and this is the last thing I have to talk about, I think. There might be a few other things to talk about. Actually, there is. I got a few more minutes. So, a couple things. I got a few more to talk about. So, the Bank of Japan spent between April 29th and May 1st. In just a few days, the Bank of Japan spent 68 billion to give the illusion that the yen was not collapsing. And this is one of the reasons they keep the price of gold down because they don't want, them to rush to the fact that the yen or any of these Western G7 currencies are in trouble. But in the last 6 months, an ounce of gold in Japan, because of all this money printing, has gone from 290,000 yen in December of 2023 to 361,000 yen in June of 2024. 71,000 yen more to buy 1 ounce of gold. And this is what happens when you start printing money to buy the debt. That's monetization. And on a price increase, you're talking 30% gain in a very short period of time. This is how fast things can move in a depreciating currency environment. Let's see, anything else? One of the things that I find completely stupid is that the Western media is claiming that the PBOC has stopped buying gold, and this is why gold has fallen. It's just ridiculous. First of all these forever people have been saying you can't believe the numbers that China puts out. The analyst from the Bank of Montreal just said that a few weeks ago. Can't believe the numbers. They're way understated. The IMF has said they're way understated. Alistair McLeod, one of the smartest men in the world, says they have 38,000 metric tons, yet they tell us they only have about 24 or 2,500 metric tons. Who's telling the truth? Who isn't? So when you talk about premature conclusions, how can anyone say just because of one report saying unchanged monthly holdings that China is not buying gold anymore because it's too expensive? It's total bullshit. And I would say that they're not going to tell us how much they're buying. And even if the numbers that we have been seeing for 19 straight months, if they have been buying, they've probably been buying a whole hell of a lot more than they tell us through sovereign wealth funds and less transparent, much more opaque ways of bringing gold into the country. At the same time, they're the largest producers in the world, and they've been producing gold at uneconomic levels using our trade imbalance forever. So for people to say 1 month's unchanged numbers, they're done buying gold, this is why the price fell, is as stupid as anything I've ever seen in the Western media and their stupid rhetoric trying to throw people off the scent. Look, you have 4 or 5 companies that control all the media. It's a bunch of bullshit. Don't believe it. Let me just see if there's a few. One other thing that's really worth talking about, and I don't think I talked with you about this, but I may have, was Project Enbridge. Project Enbridge, I've talked about for 2 years, maybe about that long. It was a cross-border payment system that was designed by China, Hong Kong, Thailand, United Arab Emirates. Um, and I find it interesting that the first 2 test trades they did in 2023, the first one was a cross-border payment transaction using the digital yuan for oil. I think it was with the UAE, and the second one was for gold, both with digital yuan on the Project Enbridge, which is a cross-border payment system that sidesteps SWIFT. Well, as of June 5th, Saudi Arabia has now joined a China-dominated central bank digital currency cross-border trial in what could be another step towards less of the world's oil trade being done in dollars. The move announced by the Bank of International Settlements on Wednesday will see Saudi Arabia's central bank become a full participant of Project Enbridge, a collaboration launched in 2021 between the central banks of China, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the UAE. So when you talk about, ways that they can transact with one another in their local currencies using central bank digital currencies outside the SWIFT. This is how they do it. And remember, anything that is paid in yuan is immediately convertible into gold on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. One last thing, you have Putin giving a speech June 7th. He says the Bretton Woods monetary system is dead and gone, and the current one is based on the confidence in the U.S. economy, Putin said at the plenary session of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. There is no guarantee. So to say other than confidence in the U.S. economy and the current global financial system, that's what it's based upon. In other words, they're talking about the unpegging of gold based upon Bretton Woods. And now the only thing backing it is the confidence of the West. I think it's interesting that he says these things as they've been accumulating gold, and gold's tier one. They're hedging towards you need to have something backing the new system. That's what the new BRICS currency will be. He says, due to the introduction of restrictive measures by the United States against the Moscow Exchange Group, exchange trading and settlements of deliverable instruments in US dollars and euros are now suspended. The move means banks, companies, investors will no longer be able to trade either currency via a central exchange, which offers advantages in terms of liquidity, clearing, and oversight. They're making it impossible to even trade dollars and euros in Russia, and they are pegging their currency to the yuan and conversely then to the dollar. You're looking at a situation where everything is changing. They're breaking away from what used to be. And I just think that this is starting to spin out of control. But it won't happen. And that's why, like, little by little by little by little, and then all at once until they have enough delegates to trade amongst. And I think the way they want to do it before they issue the common settlement currency, and even if they did have a common settlement currency, if you only had 10 countries to trade amongst each other with, that doesn't really do it. But now 59 countries officially plan to join the BRICS. If you have 59 countries you can go shopping with your common currency, it starts to work out. You have to have enough of mass to make a new currency system work, to have that mass adoption. And we're getting there. So when you see $78 billion in bilateral deals signed on the sidelines of this last meeting, and 59 countries saying they're going to join, you're getting there, and you're starting to chip away not only at the settlement status of the dollar by all these bilateral deals, but also the reserve status by, instead of these countries buying bonds, they're selling them and replacing it with commodities like gold and silver and rare earths and copper and you name it. And it's a situation where Zoltan Pozsar was right. He called this Bretton Woods 3, a situation now where commodities are worth more than currency. And that's what this is all about. It also inspires a lot of trust.
So I know you got to go, but I wanted to ask one last question real quick. Why have the premiums on Eagles gone so high in the past couple months?
Why were they so high for the last 3 years? They're the model of inefficiency. Why did the gentleman who Bix Weir interviewed in a three-part interview last year, I forgot his name all of a sudden, but he's the guy that's been there for since the beginning, since 1986.
Patrick
Um,
Heller?
no, he's the guy
Oh,
that developed or designed the or ran the Silver Eagle program. It's if you go to Bix Weir's website and look at his three-part interview, Jack Sermon, I think is his name. I'm almost positive. And this is the guy that admitted to Bix. I almost fell off my raft when I was listening to it in my pool last summer, where he said, the guy said, look, I was told by my superiors to only make as just as few as Silver Eagles as possible without creating a real public outcry. That he's like, I used to be on the other side of the table. I used to be an authorized participant, purchaser, the US men. I know what it's like to want to buy Eagles. He said they came to us and asked for like 36 million more in the fall, and we only told them that we would give them 12 million. Or so look, they're supposed to print as many or make as many as is demanded, and they were told by whoever, it's the Treasury Department, it has to be Janet Yellen, whoever that's who leads the mint, only make just a few, as many as you can without making people go nuts for more Silver Eagles. And after this interview and the whole summer long, all of 23, people were freaking out. Why is this happening? And then miraculously, they came up with another 4 million Silver Eagles in August of 2023 and dropped the premiums down. But here again, they're not keeping up with demand. The demand is far greater than the supply. And so premiums are rising. And it's an indication, a leading indication, I think, of where this is ultimately going. And it's interesting when you look at values. The one item that probably has the best value right now of anything we sell would be pre-65 silver, because during the pandemic, when these prices on the Eagles were parabolic. Uh, the junk silver pre-65 was the closest thing to silver Eagles in out of control premiums for the whole time. It was higher than anything else. It was the second highest premium behind silver Eagles in any silver product we sold, and at right now, it's lower than any of the other ones,
Yep,
and
it
in
just
fact
dropped
hasn't
down.
kept up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
so to
week,
me,
this
it is
this
the
week,
best buy that you could make right now, period, would be pre-65 silver because it was as high as 13, 14, $15 an ounce during the pandemic. And right now it's I don't know.
it just dropped down to 250 over spot for us
Yeah, there you
this
go.
week.
And
That I've never
that's
seen
the
it drop
thing.
down that low. It's been
Right.
$3 over spot the past several months, but this week the price she came out, it went down to 250, and I was like, holy crap! Like that's a really good deal. So yeah,
So that's all I got for you, brother. But I like doing these with you every week because look at in 5 days the amount of new stuff that's happened. And I
yeah.
think as we get closer and closer and closer to, the fall in particular, there'll be a lot to talk about. There'll be some trigger things that wake the public up. And so for people looking to buy silver, to me, the best thing that you could buy would be pre-65 silver right now. It's distorted. The premiums have not the premiums have not adjusted to where they were in relation to where all the other coins are. So if you look at all the major mint coins, the Britannia, the Krugerrand, the Philharmonic, Kangaroo, et cetera, and the Maple, and put it in context with junk silver, they have gone higher than where in relation to where junk silver is. Over the last 3 years, junk silver was higher than all of them. So I would just simply say if you're looking to buy something that gives you utility and really damn good value, this is what you would have paid most of my career for that stuff. And so that's what I would do. But other than that, dude, if there's something crazy that happens before next week when we talk again, we'll jump on. But in the meantime, I wish you and everyone else out there a great evening and a great rest of the week. And buckle up. It's going to start to get really bumpy and interesting. And as I always say, remember, that's a Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. No pun intended. These are anything but dull and complacent. That's for sure.